It's really surrendering is part of the company. It's why I founded it, is because I realized anything in life requires us to give up something. And that's not always a negative thing. That's a lot of times a good thing because you gain something back. So that's the same with fitness, right? You want to surrender to the process of it. And in the meanwhile, as you're doing that, you're also gaining so much because this is what I try to teach my clients as well. Like all the things that are a plus in the process. It really is an active relationship. It comes from both sides. And we kind of have to meet in the middle. It's about having accountability. It's about leveling up as a person, leveling up with your fitness, just becoming a better person.
This is Dental All Stars, where we bring you the best in dentistry on marketing, management, and training.
Welcome to Dental All Stars. I'm Alex Nottingham, founder and CEO of All Star Dental Academy. And with me is Luisa Dominguez. She is a personal trainer and fitness coach, and our topic is fueling peak performance. Please welcome Luisa.
Hey, Alex, how are you? Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to talking to you.
Yes, I am too. I've been telling clients about you for probably a year. You are my personal trainer, my nutrition coach, even life coach to some extent. And we've been working for quite a bit. And we'll talk about this in the discussion, but there's so much overlap in terms of what you do and what we do at All Star. And it's nice being able to experience being coached and taking care of yourself. So we're so happy to finally have you on the show.
Yeah, I made it.
You made it. Absolutely.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So we're going to get right into it because I want the listeners, there's so much knowledge that you have that I like to unpack it in this short podcast that we do. We can always have you again for sure, but let's get right to it. So I think, again, I talk a lot about you, but people may not know, who are you? You know, where did you come from? How did you get into personal training? How did you get into fitness coaching?
Yeah.
Tell me.
I want to make it real short, I guess. My name is Luisa Dominguez, and I am the founder of Surrender Fitness. And I've been, really, I help people ditch fad diets. I really help them to enjoy food without guilt. And what's super important to me is for them to lift efficiently. So that's the main thing. But how did I get to it? I've been in it since 2010, not necessarily because, this is what I've always wanted to do, but it was like really necessity and curiosity for myself. And that kind of passion grew over time. I used to do ballet and jazz when I was younger, but I was never like the sporty person. But around that time in 2010, I just signed up at Miami-Dade and took evening classes, got certified, and started free boot camp classes in an executive gym in Miami-Dade on the side, really. And then that became small group classes with ladies after work, and then one-on-ones, then online coaching, and then I worked in box gyms. And, the biggest aha moment for me was when I started competing in a bodybuilding show in 2012, 2013. That really kind of helped me solidify how much I loved transformation, and the nutrition took also a big part in that. And I finally understood that a little bit better, but I've been exploring it since then and trying to perfect it in all kinds of ways, as you know.
I do. And I really appreciate the quality of your work, the attention to detail. I talk a lot about this with our clients, is you want to find your tribe. You want to find people that are like you. I don't think there's any other way. You're so meticulous and so just like Heather, who's a friend of yours. So kind of like the story is you and Heather are friends. She's a co-owner and VP of training at All Star, and you were going to be training her. Okay, so let's talk about some fun stuff. Just for
fun.
So you were gonna train her.
Yeah.
Because you also specialize with women, nutrition, all that. You help with men for sure, but that's kind of like women are different in terms of what their body needs. As you work with her, and she didn't last too long, and then I'm like, oh, maybe I can work with you. And you were kindly like, I don't know if you're the best fit for me.
Yeah.
In terms of because I tell a lot of the dentists too, because I can be very, I'm very impatient. I want results very quickly. Probably a very difficult client to work with on the surface, but So we weren't sure about that, right?
Maybe getting a little bit of ahead of yourself sometimes, but that happens with people in general. And yeah, but it worked out. I gave him a
Well,
chance. I think it's important to give people a chance. I think mainly you will find the right tribe for you. You attract that, I believe. So sometimes I try not to question it, although sometimes I'm surprised, but then I kind of flow with it, and it worked out for us because I think we have lots in common, and I love our conversations for fitness and your business. I kind of like, it's very much business development, and we always talk about it, and it kind of has a lot of parallels, so it really makes sense to me.
and we'll unpack this a bit in our discussion, but it's like, here I am, the CEO of a company, right? And I'm not bossy, but I'm the guy, right? But you're the CEO of your company. And so for me to be coached, and that's where I think we talk about, like, is this going to work? But I have to surrender. That's part of your name of your company, Surrender Fitness. I have to surrender to, this coach knows something and knows a lot about stuff that I don't. And that's how I'm going to grow. And I think that's what you saw, is that even though I may leave my company, I want to get better. And to get better, I have to put my ego aside
Yeah, you were
a bit.
actively involved, I would say. And that's important. It's really surrendering is part of the company, is why I founded it, is because I realized anything in life requires us to give up something. And that's not always a negative thing. That's a lot of times a good thing because you gain something back. So that's the same with fitness, right? You want to surrender to the process of it. And in the meanwhile, as you're doing that, you're also gaining so much because this is what I try to teach my clients as well, like all the things that are a plus in the process.
So care to elaborate a little bit more about, like, the coaching relationship, like what makes it successful?
Mhm.
I mean, I kind of started that discussion a little bit from my personal view,
Yeah.
but is there anything else that you think that's important
Yeah.
to be coached?
I think that's super important because a lot of people that come to the gym, for example, they just think that the action of coming there and paying now is what's going to get them results, but that's not it. It really is an active relationship. It comes from both sides, and we kind of have to meet in the middle. And the more communication, the more I know what their why is, the more they know what their why is, and they reiterate it to themselves, and the more they open up themselves to what they really want for themselves, the more we can see results, right? I love working with you because you are like that. You very much like are invested in your success, and you know exactly where you want to go with your health journey, with your body, and all that stuff. And I'm all for it. I try to meet the client where they're at, but they need to know where they want to go, and I do assist them with that in some form as well. So I have a process of that too. There's different kinds of clients too. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Uh, Different types of clients.
Yeah, there's some clients that, for example, like you, you know
Mhm.
exactly what you want, right? And you just need accountability. You take care of your own things, and I just guide you. But then there's people that really don't know anything, and they just need to learn the basics. They don't understand what a rep is. They don't understand how form is. They don't know the exercises, so they're like completely relying on me. And with them, I kind of have to foster that interests a little bit more. They know they need to do it or they want to do it, and they end the process, they grow to like it more and more. And some people don't, but most people do because they see the benefit. I think there's never I've never felt bad from a good workout. Like if I'm in a bad mood or I'm not feeling well, if I get to the gym or go in for a workout, I always come out better than before. So that's what helps people too.
And I think, as you're talking about this, there's a corollary between, like, what we do at All Star Coaching as well as dentists with their patients. So we have to adapt to different personality styles. Some people are going to be very directed. Some people are going to need more support. We talk about that with disc profile, and
Mhm.
you took that. I think it's important to be able to adapt based on what your client, what your patient needs, while still being firm in terms of your value system. One thing as well we speak a lot about is that you have a set of principles and ideal client that you will work with, and it's not like everybody you take. And I think dentists have to be aware that um, we want to please everybody, but I think that it's best when we are allocating our time to those that really want the support. and to not force. That's the important thing. We want to help everybody, but if not force the fact that this may not be a fit. So tell me a little bit about. Let's get into some of the
Mm.
the tactics, like
Sure.
nutrition, for example. I think it's always a big one. What are some issues with nutrition that professionals that you see that they're having trouble with, and what are some solutions, and why is that important?
Well, I see in general business professionals, it's like they let their day be dictated or dictating them. The day dictates them instead of them taking control and being intentional about it. And then they form this all or nothing kind of mental attitude. So it's just complete shut off or complete super good with it. So I feel like it's important to take an account of where are you at and start simple with simple steps. I mean, for dentists, you want to know what they could do?
I mean, I think it'd be any, I mean, dentists in particular. I know you see, you work with my father a little bit too,
Mhm.
right? And then the hunching,
Yeah.
working on back. That would be interesting. So maybe throw that in, right?
We work on,
Yeah.
on posture, like depending on the person, wherever the background is. But like when I worked with your dad, there was a lot of posture issues because of the constant standing over people, right? So we have to work on opening things up and mobility and that kind of stuff. But generally speaking, I feel like you can accomplish a lot with like being very simple, like with simple things, like take a few moments to like really take deep breaths, go outside, look at the sun, get some sunlight, drink more water, park further away, walk. Even if you're a very busy individual, set up that time in your calendar so that you can do the workouts. And sometimes it might mean having to do it before you go to work. So, and that will help you actually have more energy for the work that you're doing. And it actually creates a better or stronger, more resilient human that can withstand stress and a lot of other things throughout life, really.
I 2 points I want to make. One is what really interests me about your nutrition coaching, which we'll talk about that towards the end, because that's something that you do virtually. Anybody, you can be anywhere in the world and do that.
Yes.
The personal training, you have to be local. I mean, you can guide workouts, but actually you working with them is different. But what caught my attention is you're like, Alex, you have to eat. It's not, you're not eating enough. And I'm thinking I have to eat less to lose weight or look good. And you're like, no, we have to composition to put more muscle on you, and you got to learn to eat and work on your metabolism. I mean, that we can get into a whole discussion, but I think what I like to, and I think what really excited me about this podcast again is the parallels between what you're doing, what we're doing with coaching, being coachable, and realizing. So you provided some tips. We'll have some more tips as well, but that's not the problem. What I realize, it's not the content, because everything's online. I mean, you can find it. I mean, yes, there's fads. If you throw away all the fads and you stay with the science, is what you do, right? It's pretty simple. You want to lose weight, calorie deficit. You want to put on muscle, lift weights, eat enough protein, so on. And there's different ways to get there. But the issue is, how do you stick with it?
Mm.
How do you stay the course? And it's cool for me seeing it, because we have a president of coaching, we have coaches, but I help with the department, lead the department, create the vision. I coach the dentist, but what being coached, and you're a tough coach, which is what I want. And it's hard even if I know the knowledge, to put it into action, but I have you that you're there with me, but also with the nutrition. I just start cutting calories, and you're like, why are you doing that? And you're
Yeah.
like, and you're as patient as you can be. And and what's cool about you as well, you train people from 5 a.m. to 2 p.m. every day. And then you work out, and you also compete in bodybuilding contests and all that. But you have a trainer, you have a coach, you don't even do your own macros, which you know how to do it. So why is it important? I guess speak to me about this
Mhm.
in general. Why why does someone need a coach, whether it's fitness coach or business coach, when they may or may not know the answers already? Why is that important? What's the psychology behind
It's
it?
not necessarily about the answers, and that's what I try to explain to people as well. It's about having accountability. It's about leveling up as a person, leveling up with your fitness, just becoming a better person. I feel like every time I've hired somebody to help me, it's always helped me to improve in some way because there's always something to work on. That's also the difference in people's mindset that come to the gym, right? Sometimes people just come and they're like, oh, I have to lose 12 pounds, but that's not really all there is, right? It's more than that. It's not just the 12 pounds because how are you going to maintain this weight loss afterwards? And I always teach people a cycle of things. There's always a cycle. You always will need a coach that will never end. You will always need somebody to kind of help you see things a little bit more objectively. Like, for example, right now I'm prepping for a show, and this week I just did not lose any weight. And in my head, I was like, okay, if it was me coaching myself, I would like do more cardio, eat less carbs. None of that happened. I was left with the same amount of food, and I'm doing no cardio this week just because it's not always more is better. A lot of times it's like we have to see how your body responds. And that's also another thing. It's individual, right? And the coach that coaches you really takes account of your things, the things that you sometimes don't think about, right? Um, and really that's why data is important in my coaching, because you're able to see patterns. You're able to realize, oh, okay, this might happen again in a month or two from now, because it's just a pattern that's been happening, and you can address it that way, right? And we can learn from it. And so yeah, a lot of times I feel like it's important to push and pull, and for the person to realize that it's not just a straight line. It just changes, and there's different phases to things, and they have to be part of that and be invested in it to learn and have new goals, really, and new things to aim at, and I help them with that.
I like when you say often that you're human, right? And you're not a machine. And so, I mean, there's qualities that are scientific that work, but your body is an organism that moves, and we have to treat it as such. We have to treat it with love and care. And so recovery, we talked about that the other day, like you're training too hard, you have to recover. So it's a balance, but I think with coaching, it's hard to see our blind spots when it's just us. And you may, again, have all the knowledge, but if you don't, it's a benefit of a coach is to see what you're not, and all the best in everything. That's what I do personally. And I encourage our clients is, if you want to get good at something, have a coach in an area that's important to you. So for me, I'm happy to make the investment because my health is number one.
Correct.
My health and mental well-being. So I have a therapist or a mental coach. I have a personal trainer. I have you. And I think that's really, really important. And dentists need to have all of it, in my opinion. And I say dentists that are serious about growing their business have to have a business coach or a dental business coach.
Right.
That's meant to be all-star, but like you are so busy doing the dentistry that you need to have somebody who's got your back and is holding you accountable on the business side. And the same thing is, you should have a personal trainer and a nutritionist that's working, right? That's on you, that's supporting you on that process. And AI is still some time away. We still, it's good to have that human component. It's just baked into our psychology, and that's the part of how we achieve peak performance. That's the formula. This is not just my opinion. This is this. Now, you made a really interesting point, and I see another corollary between what you do and what we do, which is you see so many diets or programs that are cookie cutter, that this is the only way you do it. And at All Star, I was just talking to our team, our coaching team, is we like to build around the person. And if they're doing something well, we're not going to change that. We're going to be flexible. And I find the same thing is true for what you do. For your coaching and nutrition, you're not going to like reinvent the wheel. You're going to be focusing on, hey, your back muscles are great. Let's focus on that. I'm not going to, this form's fine. Let's let that go. Let's work on this.
Yeah.
It's not like you're not doing cookie cutter. So why are there cookie cutter situations out there? And why is it that you customize it? What's the importance of that?
I guess cookie cutter is there because there's a quick buck to be made, right? It's easier, and it's just attractive because people want to have quick fixes. And it's just easier to say, it's just the same way as like a person just coming into the gym and just paying a trainer, but not really being invested in it. Same idea. Why is mine different? Because everybody's different, really. And that's why AI also will not help with that, because AI might give you a workout, but or they will be able to tell you something. But like, let's say for a competition like I'm doing, and I'm at the end, let's say, my coach has to watch me all day long and has to see how my body reacts to nutrition, for example, how my body reacts to working out. AI cannot help you with that. So you really need personalization. And yes, fundamentally, we're having always the same kind of exercises, but everybody has different levels. And form is important, breathing is important. So many times I find people that are working with me and they're completely not breathing right, like even the most simple things, and they can't have the full benefit from it. So I am against a cookie cutter, because they teach you that it's possible to lose weight fast, and you might, but we know that doesn't work. I prefer to teach somebody to have lasting results and then build from there, because I really want them to become autonomous, even though I am helping them. But I think even if I'm not their coach one day, I want them to learn as much as they can from my perspective, and then build up as much as they can from that. And then maybe if they needed to, they outgrow me one day, they can go to a different coach. But I think coaching is always important.
So speaking of quick fixes, and I know that's not the point, but if you can provide our listeners like your kind of a framework, what is a good and philosophy behind like nutrition, let's say, is one bucket, and nutrition and health maybe, and then the other is like kind of physicality, weightlifting, cardio, those things. What would be for the listeners some like a list of some things that you can that you think are really important to be working on? A lot of our dentists, you're married to an engineer, they're engineers, they want to have, what do I do? Step, up. I know this is not the end all be all, but this is just a starting point to focus on. What's important on those areas that you would recommend?
I would say, first of all, take an account of what you're already doing, right? Because you don't want to overwhelm yourself. But the most important things are really just movement initially, and then get help. Honestly, it's important to, and like you said before, I don't only see actually people in person, I also see them online. And sometimes if that's the only option, because you can only go at a certain time, that there's no trainers, sometimes that's also the case, you can get a program from a coach, and they will give you exactly personalizations, and you can do them on your own. Just set up the time, and you have to let your coach know, hey, I only have like 30 minutes 3 times a week. And a good coach should be able to ask you, well, what can you work with? What do you have? How do you feel? How's your movement? And kind of like help you every step of the way. During COVID, for example, I was helping a lady all the way up in North Carolina, and she started from her home working out with my help, with like 3-pound dumbbells. And now 3-4 years later, she's in the gym now lifting with very heavy weights. So everybody starts somewhere. So I think the most important thing is to take account of where you're at, what you're doing well already, because commend yourself for what you're doing well, but also see the areas that you have to improve. And if you're not sure about it, ask a professional, an expert, to help you figure that out. And because maybe sometimes when you are not doing anything, again, you might really lean towards one side where you want to do all of it at once. And that's not necessary. Really, what's more important is some movement. And as far as nutrition goes, I didn't even touch on that, is really just pay attention at what you're eating every day. First of all, take an account of that, but then make sure that you really eat your protein first. Protein is the most important thing, because it's a building block of the body, and it helps build a strong body. And then also your carbohydrates and healthy fats, and of course water, enough water. Because our body.
Water here. Here's my water.
Mine is here. And
I'm making sure that I'm drinking, because you get upset when I don't drink my water. So, Luisa, tell me a little bit about, because we have listeners all around the world, and we also have listeners near us in South Florida.
Yeah.
So if let's start with this. Somebody is in South Florida and they're driving distance, and they want to work with you as a personal trainer. How can they learn more? And then I'll ask you about the online stuff, but how can they learn more about you and consider working with you? Where would they find that, and how would that look like?
They can send me an email at luisadominguez@surrenderfitness.com. And they also can go on my Instagram at Surrender Fit and send me a message there or fill out an application. And I usually respond pretty fast. They can see me at a gym. I work from a gym, but I also work with people online. And online would look like more like programming, and meaning I create a workout program for them, and we change it periodically depending on what their needs are. And we also do weekly coaching check-ins, which
So let me
yeah,
just clarify.
sure.
So the local, straightforward, but in most cases it's not. So in virtual, let's talk about virtual programming. So, and just correct me. So what are the virtual programs? I think there's programming in terms of lifting weights and so on. There's also programming in terms of nutrition.
Sure.
What is that? What does that look like if somebody wants to work with you virtually? What would that look like? And of course, I guess I can go to your website, surrenderfitness.com. Is that what it is? And as well your Instagram as well. So
Yeah.
what would that look like for a professional,
Yeah.
likely a dentist or a team member that's like, hey, I may, I like what you're talking about, or I may not be able to afford to go to a trainer every day. That's another thing. It's more affordable to do the
Mhm.
virtual coaching.
Yeah.
And then, because I do all of it with you. I'm number one client. I buy all of the packages.
Yeah. At
So I have like the app here, and it tells me what to do, and there's notes that are sent to me, and then I can do that on my own. I can send you videos. So although I'm kind of lazy and I love just to have you there and to do it for me, but in theory, it's good to have that. So tell me a little bit what that looks like.
Online is basically they get, I like to do a lot of things through Google. So I use Google Sheets, and I have a check-in sheet that they would get. I have a blueprint with all the information that I would like a client to read, the things that are important, things that people really don't know so much. So I like to kind of teach them and kind of build a foundation. And as we coach every week, there's going to be a set time when we're going to check in, like an appointment. And on that day, you know this, you send me your check-in, and I review it the day after, and send you a Loom video and makes changes if I need to. And you get your workouts through an app or Excel spreadsheet in the same Google Sheet with workout videos and explanations. I also like people to send me their videos if they don't know how to lift a certain way. Like, let's say somebody is not really knowledgeable with certain things. I like them to send me videos about their work, about their exercises, and I will correct their form. That's super important to me because part of what I do is I want people to lift efficiently, because a lot of times people just move things without intention. And really where the magic lies is in intentional lifting, and also lifting hard enough that you can elicit some change. And that's what I try to help people. In the beginning, that probably is not the most important thing, but as time goes by, I like to teach people that. And same thing with, I mean, most of the people that I work online with, they do the complete thing where I do programming and nutrition, because I think, and I always ask people to work with me at least 3 months, because I think 90 days is a good time for them to see some changes, and for them really to get used to something as well, because a lot of times if somebody's never done this, it requires some kind of discipline also on their part to kind of check in with their coach, right? Even though we speak about it, it's not necessarily something that comes easy all the time. And building that trust and relationship doesn't just happen overnight. It takes time, and for them to understand that I have their back and I'm their cheerleader, and yeah, all that stuff. And then, sometimes changes. And actually, I just added another part into my bio, where I'm a functional nutrition coach, which kind of expands even more on that, where I also can look over blood lab works and also order blood work with the help of doctors that can look at that as well. But I can also take a look at it and kind of look at it more from a lifestyle perspective and help them figure out if there's something that can be better in their lifestyle and in their nutrition and so forth.
Just listening to you, it's so cool how similar your intuition about coaching is to what we do at All Star. So, for example, we have our coaching is self-funding coaching, which means we look to the coaching to pay for itself within 90 days is what we target.
Mhm.
And I think it's very similar to you. I mean, you're paying for itself as you will see results within 90 days if you stick with the program,
Yeah.
but you need at least 90 days. That's the number I think we both kind of came to, which I think is really, really cool. And the other, what's interesting, I've also have on the program one day, it's Christiana. She's the
Or
physical therapist that I could not get my calf to get better. You got me stronger, but you said you have to see this person, and I saw her, and she's amazing. And she also had a big following on YouTube. And what's remarkable is, so our coaching is 2 calls a month. That's it. And then you can also message your coach whenever you want. Much like you, besides the personal training, I don't have a lot of talking time with you, but I can message you when I want for quick support. I'm getting programming and getting those things, which is very similar to our coaching. Our coaching, like I said, is 2 calls, but then you can meet with your coach often. Same thing with Christiana is I only see her every other month, every 2 months, or every other month. And then there's great programming. And then I have the support whenever I want, I get feedback. And it's so cool seeing the similarities between all of these programs, which we didn't collaborate with. We're just doing that way intuitively because we know, look, I wouldn't say that you're cheap. I would say you're very affordable and appropriate, but you don't, much like us at All Star, we don't start adding on things just to making expensive. We're saying like there's a certain level that people and busy professionals can commit to, not just financially, but time. And then it's just about the proper dosage and then sticking with it. So a lot can be done with just the proper instruction. And so I just wanted to just say it's just so fun to see the similarities there. That's why I always
and you kind of graduated yourself too, because you're a very hands-on person. But normally, if I have somebody new, for example, and like again, if they don't know a lot of things, I don't mind. We do calls more often. Like I know we do a lot of email check-ins, and you get Loom videos from me, and we chat on WhatsApp chat if you have questions. But normally, I like to do also calls, especially if somebody's completely new and they really feel like they need the hands-on help. So I do talk to them, but I don't think you ever had that problem.
Well, I see you 3-4 times a week
Yeah.
and training anyway, so we get that.
Yeah.
But it's just cool to see. And for those that are listening, I'm all about Tony Robbins, who's my mentor. I worked for him for many years. It's all about modeling the best. And when you see models that work, and you start to see models that are similar to yours, but you didn't collaborate, you get verification that this is awesome the right way. Because dentists will come to me like, I'm different or whatever, or my practice is special. It is. But what we developed at All Star can apply to any business. Like we're sharing business coaching with each other. It can apply to any business. And it's the model, and then you just change the content. And then you have the expert pilot, which is you and the coaches that they have their expertise with a really good system and a great heart. And Luisa, I'm so happy to have you here. You're so talented at what you do. You have a huge heart. You care so much about everyone. I remember you were at a competition, it was a training, and you're saying, "Oh, I learned this cool thing for you." And I'm like, why are you care so much about these things? I love my clients. And all day long, you're like, I love my clients. I'm so blessed to do what I do. And it's just, it's great to learn from you. And it's also great just to mastermind with you. So thank you for being on the program.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoy always talking to you as well, because you're very encouraging. I appreciate you very much. And I'm sure that all the dentists that work with you can learn a lot from you and definitely level up as well.
So give me those links again. For those who want to learn more about you and your programs, what are the links for them?
So it's www.surrenderfitness.com is my website. And then I think Instagram is the fastest way to get me, which is @surrenderfit. And then my email address is Luisa Dominguez @surrenderfitness.com.
All right. Luisa Dominguez, personal trainer extraordinaire and coach. Thank you for joining us. And of course, everybody, remember to follow us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify and YouTube. Get the episodes as they're released. And do this, and Luisa, you can do this as well. Okay. Go to your friend's phone, your husband's phone, everybody, and just start subscribing them to everything that is All Star. It helps our ranking, it helps our points. Tell people about us, because that enables us to continue to do this production and to get great guests like Luisa and others on. So as always, thank you. And,
thank you.
And until next time, go out there and be an All-Star.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Dental All Stars. Visit us online at allstardentalacademy.com.